In a crowded DMV, a tired clerk snaps at a nervous new driver whose language barrier has her on the brink of failing yet again. A quiet janitor risks a write-up and spends his own money on translation and test fees to help her pass, shocking the room into a softer, more patient mood. Small acts ripple out from this choice, hinting that one practical kindness can shift an entire space without fanfare. Before we get started, tap, like, share, and subscribe to join the journey. And tell me, where in the world are you watching? Drop your country below. I love seeing the global trail of these stories. The floor at the DMV was forever wet, and nobody ever looked down. The man who kept it from turning into a slip-and-fall lawsuit wore a navy polo and knee braces and pushed a blue cart with a wheel that squeaked. He moved easy, slow in the knees, quick with the hands. He set a yellow sign. He pulled gum from under a chair with a paper towel. He picked up a plastic dinosaur a kid had dropped and set it on the armrest like a tiny guard. People stepped around him like he was part of the furniture. The number board beeped and beeped. Rain streaked the big front window. The vending machine hummed loud enough that you could feel it through your shoes. A woman in a black blazer talked into a headset. A teenager bounced his heel. The man with a cart kept the puddles small. Number G118 flashed, and a woman in scrubs stood like she'd been called to the stage. She was maybe early 30s. Light blue scrub top, jeans, hair braided, and tucked under a simple scarf. She held a folded booklet and a letter so wrinkled it had creases like a map. The ticket shook when she looked at it. She took 2 steps, like they were hard steps. At the counter, the clerk's voice had the edge people grow when the day is too long. "You can't use your phone for the test," the clerk said, through the plexiglass. "Not even for translation. It's the rule. You already failed twice. If you want to try again, it's another fee. You filled the wrong form anyway. Next." The woman didn't move. She swallowed. Her mouth closed. She tapped the handbook like it might help. "Please," she said, the word small and careful, like she had cut it out of a bigger one. A guy 2 chairs down exhaled loud. Someone muttered, "Come on." The baby squealed and then went quiet. The security guard drifted like a cloud toward the counter, slow but sure. He didn't touch anyone. He just stood there, heavy belt, gray uniform, hands at his sides, ready to make the room behave. The woman's eyes went glassy. She pressed her papers against her chest like a shield. He parked his mop against the yellow sign and walked toward the glass. The man with the cart moved to the side of the counter window where people ask for pens. He didn't make it a big thing. "Sit," he said to the woman, nodding at the plastic chairs by the vending machine. 2 minutes. The clerk blinked at him. The guard looked at him. He nodded again, as if the nod itself was a pass. He slid onto the plastic chair by the vending machine and opened a translation app he paid for on the spot. His phone was old and cracked. The app cost $12.99 for a day pass. He tapped pay. He typed simple words. Stop. Yield. Work zone. He let the app speak them in the woman's language. He kept the volume low. He pointed to the pictures in the handbook. "You know these," he said. She nodded, breath shaky, eyes fixed on the screen like it was the only clear thing. He used his card at the kiosk to pay for another test attempt. He didn't make a speech. He walked over to the machine with the touch screen, punched in the number the clerk had circled, slid his card, and printed a receipt with her name. $18. He knew the supervisor would log his time. He knew he was not supposed to step away from his zone without asking. He also knew she had nothing in her purse but a bus card and 2 crumpled ones. He handed her the slip. They practiced road signs on napkins that smelled like coffee. He drew a triangle and shaded it in. He drew a rectangle and scribbled little lines for words. He didn't joke. He didn't pat her arm. They just pointed and nodded and breathed. Her voice came out steadier. She said yield, like it had always lived in her mouth but was shy. She went in to take the test. He waited by his cart and watched the numbers blink. He leaned on the handle and rubbed his knee with the heel of his palm. The squeaky wheel bumped the baseboard as if it wanted to be helpful. People still came and went. The line still made a slow snake, but the air felt different, lighter, like when a window gets opened 1 inch and you can smell outside. When she came out with a thin paper that said pass, the room breathed out. She didn't cheer. She didn't cry. She pressed the paper flat with her hand so it wouldn't curl. She looked at the man with the cart and said, "Thank you," in a voice that landed like a warm blanket. He nodded, small. He picked up his mop. He went back to the puddles. On his break, which he had now skipped, he checked his bank app and winced at the number. $42 until Friday. Rent auto pay tomorrow. He closed the app. He clicked his brace tighter. He took a sip of water from the fountain, and it tasted like the building, metal and dust. He slid a pack of crackers from the machine and watched it drop, the coil turning slow. The clerk took a breath before the next number and, softer, said, "Take your time." It wasn't a lot. It was enough. The shoulders of the guy at the window settled. The woman behind him picked up a pen from the floor and put it back in the cup. A teenager leaned over to help an older man with the touch screen, slow and patient. He used 2 fingers to show the zoom. He didn't sigh. He held the man's elbow when they stepped aside so no one would bump him. The security guard refilled the pen cup and straightened the stack of forms. He didn't say anything about it. He left the pens standing like a little forest, all points up, all of them ready. A week later, a small sign appeared near the machine. Practice tests available in multiple languages. Ask for materials. It was printed on regular paper. The font was not pretty. It got the job done. Someone taped it straight. Someone else added a basket with handouts in different colors. Most days, that room made strangers out of everyone. You came in alone, you left alone. You carried your number like a secret and hoped it would be called. That day, for a few hours, things felt less sharp. Not soft, just less sharp. That day ended with sunlight laying a thin gold stripe across a clean patch of floor. The man with the cart ran the mop once through it and let the stripe stay. The woman in scrubs walked past the window, still holding her paper, and lifted a hand on the way to the bus. He lifted his too. The yellow sign glowed. The squeaky wheel went quiet for a few feet, and then it squeaked again, and the sound, somehow, didn't bother anyone at all.